Hi, welcome to SEO Hangouts with Josh Bachynski. Today I've got some interesting leaks for you, some very interesting stuff going on. Google has been making some interesting leaks, and I've got some interesting experiments going on, so I'm going to share that with you. And of course, my standard, to be expected, rant might occur, maybe just might happen. Joe Miller mentioned something really interesting back in September 23rd. That they ignore links with names in them, proper names like John or Joe or Anne or Mary. I found that very interesting because, of course, I don't mean to out anybody in any of my videos ever, but there is this program called Link Aloha, version 1 and version 2. It's this linking service that some people provide or something. I've noticed that they tend to like to put names in their backlink profile. So you'll see, if it's again my redapples.com example, which I always use, it'll be in the backlink profile, you'll see buy Red Apples, Red Apples review, and then Joe, and then click here, and then, and they think by adding this randomized stop word text, it was helping. It probably was helping for a while, but not anymore. John Mueller, it seems to have indicated that they have caught on to this and that they ignore links with names in them. In fact, those kinds of links are going to get filtered out. Nonsense links are going to get filtered out. That was the general notion. So it's always important, I think, to you can throw in some nonsense links. Definitely, it does randomize things, but it would be better if they had natural stop words that said like "good this" or "great site that" or that kind of a thing. Okay. The next one's about the knowledge graph. You guys know about the knowledge graph, of course, the knowledge panel. It's anyone who doesn't know about it, go read about it. And you've been living in a ditch. And of course, as you also know, they take it from Wiki, but they also take it from Wikipedia, but they also get their knowledge from a site called Freebase. And the changes that happen in Wikipedia and Freebase happen very quickly. In fact, there was this recent debacle with a basketball team. I think it was a college basketball team, and someone edited the Wikipedia page to say some not very nice things about the team and or homosexuals. And that got onto Google like within minutes. And so Google siphons that data from trusted sources like Freebase and Wikipedia very quickly. So it's a very interesting way to get your message in front of millions of people very quickly if you want to, like these people did for this particular, I think it was a basketball team, I'm pretty sure. I obviously don't follow college basketball, if that's indeed what it was. I don't follow, whatever it was, I don't follow it. If it's not UFC related, I probably don't know about it when it comes to sports. Okay. So, of course, how would you do that, Josh? Well, again, it's just an idea, throwing it out there. But again, if you want to put your message out there really quickly and kind of hack the knowledge panel like this, what you would do is you would, pay off certain Wikipedia or Freebase editors, hypothetically, and high up ones that have good authority in those systems, and they can make those changes. And if the change is not too egregious, it will stick longer. So anyway, those are some ideas, food for thought. Hypothetical, you could do this, hypothetical. Okay, and also another little one. How good is Google at resolving JavaScript in links? Matt Cutts and co. have been telling us how they're getting better and better and better at detecting JavaScript, and they're doing so in links. And quite recently I saw an example where not only are they resolving the on-click attribute, so you have the anchor tag href equals whatever, on-click equals execute some JavaScript or maybe some PHP, I don't even know what you can stick in there, but JavaScript for sure, I know. And they will process it. Google will process that. So if you have on-click window location equals some site, and that's essentially taking over the href, Google will make it a link to that place. So they'll read the on-click, and they'll also read if you just put JavaScript in the href as well. Even with like weird, funky characters, even it doesn't seem to resolve very cleanly, Google can process that now. So be warned that if you're hiding links this way or trying to keep links from them in this way, they can read it now. So I don't know what that means, if they all follow it or no follow it. I have no idea what that means, but all I know is that they can read it. Okay, now, here's some interesting stuff. Back in October, Cutts put out a video about, it's not all about content, quote unquote, about how you still need links. I found this to be a highly ironic and odd video coming from Matt Cutts of all people. One, yes, we all know we need links. We're obsessed with links. You told us not to be obsessed with links. 2, aren't you the guy telling us that it is all about content? Why are you suddenly giving us a 180 and telling us now it's all about links? Or it's not all about content, you have to have links too. Well, we know we have to have links too. This was the screwiest thing I think I've ever saw him say on a long line of screwy things. Screwy. So he basically, and I put out a tweet at the time, you might have saw it. I said, oh, by the way, before I forget, if you want any information or if you want to ask me any questions about any of my SEO videos, I've got hundreds more, thousands more, tens of thousands more, I don't know, some more on my YouTube channel. You can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter to get sardonic tweets like the one I'm about to talk about at Josh Bachynski at Twitter, on Twitter. And you can also look at all my videos at youtube.com/jbachyns. That's JBACHYNS. Okay, so anyway, back to what we're talking about. So I tweeted out, did Matt Cutts just tell us to PR sculpt? Because he did. If you don't know what PR sculpting is, it's a method by you try to change the flow purposely of PageRank, the PageRank algorithm, or link juice, if you will, and get it usually, presumably, pointing to you in a much more positive way and try and cajole that PageRank juice to pull it up to be as powerful as possible. And for years, historically, traditionally, this has been something that Matt Cutts has said not to do and, called people out for doing it, and it's been a big, huge kerfuffle. But weirdly enough, in this already weird video about links, he essentially told us how to PageRank sculpt. He told us not only, yes, you should do it, and he said, this is how. So not only does PageRank sculpting works, if you watch this video, it's kind of a suggested practice as far as Cutts is concerned. Essentially, it works like this. You want to have a pyramid where at the top of the pyramid is all your most important pages on your site. This is all internal linking. Your most important pages on your site that you want to rank. Also, you have to make sure that these pages satisfy the viewer. You have to make sure that they have the right content on them. I'll get to that in a second. And on these top pages, you want as few links as possible, link outs on those pages as possible. You don't want every page to link to every page on your site. And remember, this is the pages you want to promote. They don't have to be your main section headers, right? If you have the index page and you have products and services and contact us and about us, although in your head that might be your top pages are the pages on your site you want to rank, and those are the pages that you have the most internal PageRank juice pointing towards. Yes, that will tell Google that these are your section headers, because Google also has it in their head that your top pages are also your section headers. So you have to be careful. You can't deviate from that structure too much. So I would just plan your website in the sense that your top pages, your top section pages are your main pages you want to rank. And that being the case, going back to what I just said, you have to make sure those pages satisfy the end user. You can't just have like crappy section header pages and think they're going to rank, or a crappy index page for that matter, and think that they're going to rank and they should rank and that you're going to try and rank them even though they don't have any content on them and they're not satisfying the end user. And of course, he also mentioned in this video, which was the funniest thing I think I've ever heard him say, you want to get high PageRank links. FYI, by the way, according to Matt Cutts, get high PageRank links. He pretty much said this. So that was a weird video. I suggest you go watch it. It was released sometime in October, maybe late September, October. I can find it for you if you can't actually find it. Again, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. But PageRank sculpting works. It's, in fact, supposedly a suggested practice from Matt Cutts. And if you've been doing SEO for any length of time, you know how zany what I am saying, but I'm getting this right from his video. And, it's almost like his white hat, butt snorkelers are having too much trouble ranking, because they're just going on social and content. And although those two things are extremely important for ranking, they're not everything, obviously. And links still, fortunately, unfortunately, are a huge factor, among other things. So, it's almost like the white hats have been going too much for that. And they can't rank. Matt, we can't do it. How do we do it? He's like, remember links, you still have to do that. It's almost like you put a video like that. Anyway, so, so it's not all about content. According to Matt Cutts, remember, the most ironic admission ever. And so your top pages, and here's another interesting, sneaky little thing you can do. You can, of course, although I said Google can process links in JavaScript. You can, of course, import the JavaScript from a file that is roboted out. As people who do JavaScript know, I don't have to tell you, you can import whatever.js file, and then in the robots.txt, you robot that out so Google can't read it. I don't know if they'll honor it. They don't always honor the robot text, but they have asked people specifically, as you will recall, to not do that so they can read it. So I'm assuming if they bother to make videos about it to unrobot it so they can read it, that they're probably not reading it. So my point is that you can have a whole normal site structure in like JavaScript that's roboted out, or even sneakier ways you can do it that Google can't read. And if you want ideas about how to do that, just email me, we can talk about it. And then so your page rank sculpting through the links through the site, and to make certain pages your top pages. And usually it's better if those are actually the section headers, but they don't necessarily have to be, to get maximum page rank juice internally, which still matters and still fairly important. But you can give a normal site structure to your end users to follow through the JavaScript that the robot can't follow, but the users can. Technically, I believe that would be cloaking, I think. See, Libby? Okay, here's the next interesting thing. John Mueller admitted point blank about links that the branded exact match query anchor text is not bad. That it's not about the exact match anchor text, supposedly. Because people noticed in Penguin 2.0, like Cyrus Shepard, for example, noticed that on cyrussshepard.com, his site was hit by Penguin 2.0. I've mentioned this a million times, so go back, read my previous videos, watch my previous videos about Penguin if you want more information on this. And he was a false positive, probably because he's a white hat SEO, never built any black hat links in his life, so he says, and I'll probably believe him because he's a pretty prominent white hat SEO, so everybody and their grandma will be looking at his backlink profile and saying, you were building backlinks, sonny, So he probably hasn't done it. But he did have a high percentage of links that said Cyrus Shepardism, because that's his name, Cyrus Shepard, right? Pointing to cyrussshepard.com. He got hit. And I already put out a video showing tons of evidence and proof that that's more or less what Penguin 2.0 was looking for, was exact match query anchor text to exact match domain. And so when people, me or some other people, brought this to John Mueller's attention, he said, well, it's not really about the exact match query anchor text. And it's not so much about brand links. It's more about commercial anchor text, and it just so happens that those two usually go together. Usually, you're trying to rank for red apples, and people are selling red apples online, and I have redapples.com, and all my backlinks say red apples. And it's because they're also commercial. So it's not just exact match query to anchor text to EMD. It's also that they happen to always be a search term. They're always commercial, highly commercial anchor text. And that could make sense for Cyrus Shepard as well, because Google knows he's an SEO. And Google, remember, has this huge thesaurus system built in to know that, Cyrus Shepard, that phrase of words is 80% related to the phrase SEO, and it's 80% related, 88% related to SEO mods because he used to work for them. That's how Google, the AI, thinks, right? It has this built in that these are, more or less like this. And Hummingbird even more so. That's just kind of directly built into Hummingbird to kind of take out the stop words too in search phrases. Tell me about Cyrus Shepard. If you say that to Google or type it into Google, Google will realize, oh, you want info on Cyrus Shepard. That's what they'll translate that to. Or just Cyrus Shepard as an info query, and they'll give you information about Cyrus Shepard. Yeah, they have it in the knowledge panel for him. They'll put it up there, and if he's important enough a personage, right? So, so the point of that talking is that John Mueller made a point-blank admission that it's not so much about the branded EMQ anchors. It's about a quote-unquote commercial anchor text, which is bad. And so you have to make sure, so what do we do about that? Well, basically you have to make sure that your anchor text were completely donated by an idiot who does not know anything about SEO and doesn't know anything about internet marketing at all. And so instead of, if I'm trying to rank redapples.com and I want people to buy red apples, and I want to rank for buy red apples, instead of getting anchor text that says buy red apples, my anchor text should say donated my gift bag, or great guys, or really great site. That's what my anchor should say, because they're not commercial anchor text. It's not a search phrase. It's not what I'm trying to rank for. And it looks like some kind of idiot donated it on their website, right? Furthermore, on the 21st of October, John Mueller and also some experiments that I did provided some very interesting examples. One of my clients has been struggling with manual action. In fact, for quite some time. It's a long story. I won't get into it. But they don't have to do a reconsideration request because they got the manual action versus links. I've tried to tell them they don't need to do that anymore, but they don't necessarily always. People don't always listen to me. I don't know why. I don't know why people don't always listen to me. But they don't always listen to me, and they listen to some other forums or Google forums or whatnot and say, well, if you've got the manual action, you have to do a reconsideration request. Here's a note, a hint. If you got the manual action versus links, you don't have to do a reconsideration request. However, be that as it may, this one particular client just wants to clear it off because it's like a mark on their conscience. They don't like it, and so they're trying to get rid of it. So fine, whatever. More power to them if that's what they want to do. Now, the point is that they did a reconsideration request. It was rejected by Google, and Google said, thank you for giving me more information to teach my machine learning algorithms. And here's some examples of what we think are some bad links pointing to your site. And one of them was extremely interesting. It was a standard blog post. And this is what it looked like. It had on-site duplication. So the article, it was a pretty nice looking article. It had on-site duplication, and so WordPress standard, a tag, an archive, many different URLs to get to the same article on that one site. But it was not duplicated anywhere else on the internet. It was a unique article. It was an obvious WordPress blog. It was an obvious standard paid blog post format. So it's standard article with 2 links at the bottom and kind of like a byline, which were obviously exact match query and highly commercial anchor text. Obvious search phrase. And it was on a multi-topic site. But this is pretty normal. Anybody running a blog, you would think, anyone writing a blog who writes on multiple different topics, who honestly thought this was a great product, might, in the footer type, yeah, so if you want to go see what I've been talking about, here, check out this site for, they're all about red apples, and you can also buy red apples on that site. It's possible. It's not likely that someone would ever write that naturally, but it's possible. What was interesting about this bad link example, and this is all going to come to a point. Trust me, it'll come to a point. That's easy. Yeah. What was interesting about this example was it was not cross-domain duplicated. It was a unique article. There was nowhere else on the internet. Every single link example I'd seen come back from Google, that I'd personally seen come back from Google, always had cross-domain duplication on Go articles and whatever e-zine articles and whatever else. Always been. So it's like, okay, obviously this is a Black Hat link, and most of them have been obviously spun. The sentence structure was terrible, the grammar was terrible. It was obviously a spun article, but this article was not the case. All they had to go on was that it was a multi-topic site, a WordPress blog. And it had 2 commercial anchor texts in the article, at the bottom of the article. That's all they had to go on. That this was a manual built link, but they still did find it. The algorithm still found it. The algorithm found it with enough confidence to put it in a "these are your bad links" email that they sent back from doing a reconsideration request. So that wasn't a human being who went and searching on the internet and found it and pasted it in there. That was an algorithm that found it, put it in there, and then the manual reviewer eating his sandwich went, yeah, click, went to the next one, right? So, yeah, so for those of you who can read between the lines, you should notice that this is very interesting, that's all they had to go on, but they still found it. And so again, Google, I mentioned this a million times, how links are kind of getting really dangerous. Dare I say it, my own personal opinion is they're kind of on the way out. We still need them now. You still have to build them, as Matt Cutts told us. But you have to be really careful, and you cannot be using any of the old strategies. The link has to literally be on some site that is only about one topic, preferably, that has no blog posts, that is just some article, some business that sells sprockets and also has a link on their index page. It says, these guys are great. These guys donated our fenders for our trucks, and that's the anchor text, right? Because it totally looks donated, it totally looks non-SEO, and that's the safest thing that's really going on right now. And quite frankly, if you want to be safe, you want to rank in 2014, that's, in my opinion, that's what you need to do, because Google can find these blog posts so easily. They don't even have to be spun. They don't even have to be duplicated across the internet. Okay. Now, John Mueller also made another very interesting admission. He admits point blank that Google Plus is used in ranking, that it will help you rank. But what about Google Plus will help you rank? And very interestingly, he said this particular time on October 21st, that it's if users share your site. It's not about the plus ones on your site. It's not about the likes on your site. It's for Google Plus, it's whether or not people are on Google Plus are sharing your site. If they actually go so far as to share it, to copy and paste the URL into Google Plus and say, hey, this is a great site, go check it out, and share it to their circles. Or you have a Google Share button somewhere on your site, and if you don't, you should. And it should be a high priority, and there should be a call to action that pops up, says, hey, if you loved us, please share us. We'll send you 20 points of karma, or whatever your shtick is for your call to action, your sales value proposition to get them to share you. Do it, because this is being used in Google Plus. And also, don't forget, is that the percentage of logged in users to some Google account, whether it be YouTube or Gmail or Google Plus or AdWords or whatever, is going up and up and up. And this includes Android users. Android is the biggest smartphone that there is. They sell way more Android phones than they do iPhones. And that it's just like a 80-degree climb of, if you look at the stats of cell phone adoption, including Android adoption. And the Androids are always logged on, usually, like 99% of them, unless you go on and do some jiggery pokery. They're always logged on. And so when you search with them, you're always going to get the blended Google Plus spew, the search plus your world Google Plus rankings. So if somebody shared it on Google Plus that your friends or circles with, they're going to see that. And don't forget, don't put it past Google to use your other social relations. They already do use Twitter relations. That people have already proved that they use the Twitter relations in the same kind of algorithm. Google had an algorithm for Twitter long before Google Plus was a gleam in Twitter's eye. Because remember, they used to have the big pipe from Twitter 3 years ago now or so. 2 or 3 years ago now. So, and don't think for a second they're not going to do the same with Facebook. They have access to Facebook. There's a Facebook skin for Android, for crying out loud. That they have complete access to, and as Rand Fishkin has mentioned, they have complete access to an OAuth backend to Facebook. So don't think it's impossible that you will start seeing relations like that, and more people are going to be logged in, and they also have complete access to Disqus and Reddit and small social networks like that as well. There's a list of them online. There's like 80 of them that they have a backend deal with to get all the data. So, and more people are going to be logged into Google Plus or any Google account as it is. So, and it's all Google Plus. If you're logged in, you're logged into Google Plus. If it's Gmail or YouTube or any of that kind of stuff. So that's going to get only bigger, and it will definitely, even if you're not logged in, it will affect the rankings. If you're logged in, it will definitely affect the rankings, like big time, like a very large percentage. Okay, and last but not least in this SEO rant, John Mueller made another direct admission this time about Hummingbird. And he mentioned it before, but he went to a bit more detail, that Hummingbird uses structured data, and structured data is very important. Microformat, schema.org, structured data. And the reason why it's very important for Hummingbird is because structured data tells Google what the page is about. Is it a services page? Is it offering a service? Are you offering a product on that page? Is it an About Us page? Is it a blog post? Is it a syndicated blog post or a syndicatable blog post? H entry or H atom. And all those kinds of things. And so Google is using that to tell what the page is about. Now, the important thing is to not to do it wrong. It's better to not do it at all than to do that wrong and confuse Google. Because of course, Google's pretty good at already knowing what that is about. The title says you can download here. They know, okay, well, this is a product download page, that kind of a thing. Or it's a contact us page. Okay, there's an address and contact information. It's a contact us page. They can tell that automatically already. But the structure can confuse them if that contradicts the other one, or you don't have very good strong signals on your own page. So make sure not to do that. It's just like what Matt Cutts just recently, last week, said or this week said not to do with meta descriptions. It's better not to have it than to do it wrong. So the same thing goes for Hummingbird, the same thing goes for structured data, and I see this all the time when I'm doing SEO reviews. It's better not to have the structured data or the meta descriptions than to do it wrong. So that is my SEO rant for today. Just some little tidbits. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me at joshbachynski at Twitter, and you can also watch this video and many other kind of SEO videos at my YouTube channel at youtube.com/jbachins. So I wish you good luck in the SERPs, and we'll see you next week.